Good morning, everyone. I know today's going to be a good day. Why? Because I have Jesus. Even if from an earthly point of view it appears to be bad, if I'm working with Jesus, it's just the way the day works. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad from my point of view. It's always good from his point of view, because that means it's going to help somebody. Okay, so we're going to do an update video here. I haven't done one in a little while. Unfortunately, it's all some of the same stuff going on. But right now, there's a major problem in our government. One of lack of confidence. Trump was coming out all strong and powerful in the beginning in his campaign and his first 100 days or so. But now he's starting to play politics. And that's never good, because that means the good wins some and the bad wins some. That's politics. It should be the good wins everything, the bad wins nothing. But that's not the way politics work. I don't know if it's been a while since I've told you, but my definition of politics. Poly is Latin for many. Ticks, blood-sucking insects. Yeah, that's what they've become and are becoming. It's better than the previous administration, but the direction that Trump has gone recently in backing down on Iran, just so we could have peace. Peace is okay. But if you got a murderer in the other room who says, I'm going to kill everyone as soon as I get my hands around their neck, I'm going to strangle them, do you let that person continue and walk around? Iran hasn't changed. In fact, they're still threatening the United States and threatening Israel. Maybe they don't have the ability to do a nuclear bomb, but they still have terrorists. They're still cleaning up in Gaza. They're not done yet, and they haven't released the remaining hostages. Yemen's still launching missiles. They sank a ship recently in the Gulf over there. This is not getting better, because you got to confront this. Jesus confronted the money changers because they were wrong. Sometimes you have to confront wrong. Now, don't go looking for it. It'll find you on its own. You don't have to hunt it out. But you have to be willing to stand on God's principles. And our president is back down on Israel, and it's obvious. He's back down on the Epstein list. Bondi said there was one, and she was going over it. Now she's backed it up. Well, that's not what I meant. Well, that's what you said. You're playing a politician role now. One of his attorneys, Epstein's, said there is a list. I've seen it. We've had a witness come forward and say, I was one of the victims. This is bad, and it needs to be dealt with. But Trump backed down. There's no list. He didn't kill himself. Everything's fine. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. Wizard of Oz reference. You should know that. So I'm just going to kind of look at some of the news. Dan Bongino says that he's likely to quit if they don't fix it. He didn't come in here to play politics. He came in here to clean up America. And now they're not cleaning up. They're starting to back down on some of the FEMA stuff. You can't do that. If you started something, finish the job. America's not cleaned up yet. Now, we don't know all the details of why they're doing this. We don't know if Epstein was a government agent. It still doesn't matter. You can't commit atrocities even as a government agent. What's the lady's name during World War II? Hurry or something. They paid her to go over there and spy on them, but she had to be basically a prostitute to do that. Yeah, sometimes bad things happen. But afterwards, don't deny it. Say, yes, that's what we did, but this is what we discovered. Fine. but they're not revealing their sources on this. They're still finding people, bodies in Texas, so that's not good. Trump's been there. He's toured the area. And if you look at the problem that they've got, they showed a 99% buried car. It was just the side of it, buried in the ground. That's the problem. Everywhere they look, they're going to have to dig down to look for bodies. So it's not good. I wouldn't want to be part of that working task force. California is still continuing to thumb their nose at the United States government and Trump. They're saying they need more money so they can pay off their illegals so they can stay there. They want the illegals to stay there, to vote, to drive, to do anything they want to do. And the government's going to pay for it. All of it. 100%. Just come here illegally and we'll take care of you. Yeah, that's going to work. Okay, I'm going to read headlines. I'm going to have my glasses on. Okay. Talking about Biden and his poor memory. All these politicians in that administration are claiming poor memory now. Comer, Schiff, any of these guys up there. They're going to have witnesses, or they're not going to get any of these guys put in jail. They keep talking about it. Are they going to put anybody in jail? I haven't seen anybody go to jail yet, other than a couple of judges. And they probably bargained with them saying, look, let's make a spectacle of this. Let's put you in jail for 2 or 3 months or whatever. We'll make sure you get plenty of money to cover it and take care of all your bills and your family, and you won't have to work the rest of your life. We'll take care of you, but we need a show. That's politics. Netanyahu just returned to Israel. He was here meeting with the president. And Netanyahu's standing firm. It's our president who's gotten soft. Netanyahu says if they start enriching, we're going to attack again. One of their senior advisors said they've got about 95% of Gaza cleaned up. But they're working on that last 5. Most of the leadership's gone. They really don't have a fighting force because they are a terrorist organization. It only takes one person to be a terrorist, as long as he's got the tools to work with. And they keep finding ways to get him in there. I mean, they're catching stuff, but, drones coming over from Egypt carrying weapons. Egypt's not helping. They like what they're doing, and Egypt is part of it. They're culpable. They better be careful because they might get attacked next. In Yemen, they are still carrying out bombing raids there. Hello, kitty. Come out here and be nice or I'll put you up. You know what the rule is. He's at my feet, but he's not up here yet. So even though this is a commentary and I just did my little introduction, I still need to do my normal introduction. Christians should be excited for these days. We're seeing the Bible take shape. The prophecies coming true. We haven't got much time as Christians on this earth. So if you're not a Christian, you need to be one because all hell's going to break loose down here. This new administration isn't fixing all the problems. And they have the ample opportunity to do that, and they're not fixing problems. These cockroaches that were running things in the last administration are just sitting waiting for their turn to come back. And it will come back, because this is the devil's planet, not God's. God let Satan have reign down here, and he's going to get his last little bit in, so be careful. So if you're not a Christian, stay to the end of my talk, and I'll tell you what you can do to become one. All right. Getting back to what's going on, so much AI. Everything is AI. We got an AI pencil sharpener. It's like, Why? You know, everything you can think of AI. And it's just a buzzword. It doesn't mean anything. Artificial intelligence. Well, everything is artificial intelligence if it's created by man. Even the pencil itself is artificial intelligence. There is some humorous stuff out there, though, that not only is funny to watch, but shows the potential. I don't know if you've seen these videos of these. There's a combination of apes and Sasquatch. They're AI generated, and they've got a human voice talking, and their mouths moving just with like you would expect. And there's jokes out there. You know, it's like one of them said, you know, as an ape, a hairy ape sitting there talking to his two ape friends. This isn't Planet of the Apes apes. This is just sort of gorilla type apes saying, I want to treat people like glow sticks. I want to shake the devil out of them until the light comes on. Now, I cleaned that up, but that's essentially what the joke was. And it's funny coming from an ape. You can make apes say things that you wouldn't normally make people say. All right. So, what do we got going on? Tucker Carlson basically just interviewed the Ayatollah. I guess money rules because he's getting paid a lot of money to do this stuff. And he used to be conservative, but he's just sold out now. And he's not asking tough questions. Or if he asks them, he's not following up when they don't get answered. There was a minor blackout for Starlink, but we're back up running. That was probably a software glitch. They're continuing to launch their satellites, but they're not doing good with any of their other stuff right now. They have to rebuild basically their test site where they test the rocket engines. You know, they take a spaceship over there and set it on the test pad and light up all the engines. Well, that last time they did that, the rocket blew up. So Musk, you need to focus on what you know best. Get this hardware working. Let the government go, because it's not gonna solve anybody's issues. All we're doing is delaying the inevitable, which means we're still close to getting out of here. Wish I could tell you when. We have Dr. David Jeremiah up here. This is how the rapture will really happen. Nothing really new, but for people that don't know the rapture, it's new information. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. His last name is Oliver, but what's his first name? Is it David Oliver? And John Haller on Israel's latest. They're both good. Jewish Christians. They've got a lot of good background to give you. What else is going on? Oh, the Temple Mount, that reminded me. So I had to see the headline. They did a test burn of a red heifer, not the red heifer, because they got a lot of candidates sitting around that didn't quite make it. But they did a test burn of one, getting ready for the real one. Do they have a real one? I suspect they do, but they don't want to admit it yet. It would interfere. This part of the claim of their October 7th was to prevent Israel from advancing in their temple dreams. There's so much hatred between the Jews and the Christians, and not the Jews and the Christians, Jews and the Arabs. I'm distracted. Kitty, get down. Kitty? No. He's sitting on top of my coffee pot, trying to figure out if he can get the cabinet door open. No, Kitty. So it's going to take an extraordinarily He's not going to be a Christian. Antichrist is just the opposite. But he's going to have to be extraordinary, charismatic, and have the spirit of something in him to work this out. Because there's just so much hatred. There's no way you can have peace between Israel and the Arabs unless Satan is involved on this planet. If God was involved, we'd have peace. But God's basically said, okay, people, you don't want me. Here's your world without me. That's what's coming. That's the tribulation. And they won't realize it. Another guy I like to listen to, Barry Scarborough. A simple broadcast, like mine, from his house. You might see his dog behind him on the couch. You can check him out. Dr. John Barnett. More of his. He's got a gazillion videos out there. He teaches the Bible from cover to cover, and he's pretty knowledgeable, so check him out. 7 Horrible Years Ahead. Who survived and what is God's plan? Most of us should know, but Season 6 trailer of The Chosen. Jesus was only here 3.5 years, but yet they've got a 6th season, so it's amazing. But it's still worth watching. Always watch this stuff with a little skepticism. I don't visualize, so it's fun for me to watch and see what Jesus would have looked like. They have to fill in the conversations. We get one-liners. Jesus said this, maybe a paragraph. But what they say in between? They have to kind of use creative license to fill that in. He is a human being on this planet. He came here to be a man, to show us what it's like to be one under the control of God, sin-free. Now, we can't achieve that, but we have a goal. We have a model to watch. And so for me to be able to see a show like this, it's important. And it's important at this time in history that we can have something like this. Let's see, is that about it? Again, there's not a lot going on. Elon Musk come out and said that he's got his new AI program, Grok, G-R-O-K, 4. He said it's smarter than, knowledgeable-wise, smarter than anyone with a PhD. Well, knowledge-wise, if he's tied all this online stuff together, it would be. But it still can't think, it can't invent. But Elon Musk did say that by the end of the year, next year at the very latest, it will create new technologies that we haven't even thought of. Okay. Bold statement, but let's see if he can live up to that. I'm still looking for cheap insurance. These lying, scamming insurance ads that are all over Facebook. You click on one, and it says, click here and we'll give you $29 a month insurance. You click on it, you fill all this information out. They've now collected your information, which is all they really care about. And then they send you to another site to have you repeat the same process. And then that will send you to another site. They're all collecting your data. They're not providing insurance. Somebody will call me eventually, and I'll talk to them and I'll say, look, you guys said $29.95, whatever it is. Get close to that. I'm paying too much. I'm not going to keep paying what I'm paying. And I'm going to keep looking. But trying to find somebody that will sell me, I want $50 a month. My car is almost 20 years old. I drive 3 to 5 miles a day mostly. Once a week I drive into town to see my son. That's an hour each way, once a week. Every day I'm driving in the park. 15 miles an hour is my speed limit in the park. I'm not a risk. Even if I run into something, I'm only going to do $2 worth of damage. My car is old, so $2. If it was a modern car, I'd total it if I ran into something at 10 miles an hour, because they're not built well. Pickup trucks are made out of aluminum now. You can't throw a big weight into the back of a pickup truck without running the risk of it going right through to the ground. And they don't run. One guy here has a new vehicle that he hasn't seen but like 2 months out of the year because it's been in the shop trying to fix things. Hope for Our Times is on here. Tom Hughes. Okay, well, you can find all this stuff up there. I still watch a little bit of Fox News on here, but basically I watch Glenn Beck. If you really want to know what's going on. Right now, he's still good. Another one on here, Don Stewart does his daily short videos on what's going on in the news, so he's worth watching. Okay. Amir Safati is traveling. He's on a cruise, actually. They were off of Alaska. So good for him. Prophecy Watchers, again, they're the ones that have the article, Mondo Gonzalez talking about the red heifer test run. It shows a picture of the big fire. You don't see the animal at that point. I don't know if you do at any point, but so anyhow, things haven't changed. Tipping Point with Jimmy Evans. Proof of the Rapture, his title is. He's pretty good. I like listening to him too. This is where I get my basic information. I pull it all together for you. But if you have time like I do, sometimes you can just sit and troll through the YouTube. There are headings at the top of YouTube that you can pick. I don't like YouTube because they put too much garbage up here and they filter. But this is the most popular video site. I'm into my second month. The last month I didn't get paid from YouTube because if you don't make $100, you don't get paid. It rolls over, and now I'm over $100 now, so I will get paid this month. But I was getting $150 a month until they started their filtering. I know it's filtering because there's times that I couldn't find my own page. And I know what my page is called, and I couldn't find it. It would just show up empty, nothing found. So, all right. We don't have a lot of time left, people. I keep saying that. So, you need to be paying attention. You need to prep to get through these times so that you've got enough. Natural disasters are still going to happen. Texas happened. We may only be a few months away from the rapture, but people died in the Texas flood, a couple hundred of them probably. There's still plenty of people missing that they may never find. This is a tough world. You've got to have God on your side. You've got to have Jesus. You've got to be a Christian to get through this. If you're not a Christian because you don't know God or Jesus, now's your time. If you're not a Christian and you're still watching this, God has you here for a reason. If you watch this for any reason, even as a Christian, God put it here in front of you so that you can learn from it to share with others. We're supposed to be helping people. I hope this flickering isn't bad. I had good light here, but then I rearranged the light from my couch position, and now I got to go back and rearrange it back again. Okay. Things I got to keep track of. I can't remember all this stuff. God help my memory. Okay, so anyhow, Jesus is there waiting for you to ask him. Ask him what? Jesus said you must be born again. Not physically. We can't do that. Spiritually. How do you do that? You accept the sacrifice that Jesus made. God under the law said there had to be a blood sacrifice for sin. For thousands of years they sacrificed animals, birds, whatever they could afford. Jesus came and paid the price once and for all. One sacrifice for everybody. His blood was spilt for us. Jesus died 2,000 years ago. He died for me before I was even born. So what do you do to become born again? Well, you have to talk to God. And you have to mean it. Words won't get you there. I can say, I'm a Christian. But am I telling you the truth? If I'm not a Christian, it would be a lie. But if I'm not a Christian, the lie wouldn't bother me. That's where you got to be careful today. But I am a Christian. I have been for many years. I teach the Bible because I think that's my calling that God tried to get me to do many years ago, but I wouldn't do it. But once I finally got to the point of, okay, God, I'm in the belly of the whale. I'll go ahead to Nineveh. He will do what he needs to get you to come around. Or not do what if we need to be rescued, he may leave you there until you ask to be rescued. There's a question as to whether all things coming from that are bad to us are from God. Sometimes God allows things to happen for us. But I'm getting sidetracked. What do you want to do to be a Christian? You have to admit that you're a sinner and repent. So here's your prayer. Jesus, I admit I'm a sinner. I repent from my sinful ways and ask you to come into my life. I accept your free gift of salvation that you sacrificed on the cross for me. I want to be born again. I want eternal life with you in heaven. That's it. That's all there is to it. Everybody born is going to hell. Period. Unless you accept this one-way ticket out. Now, in the past, faith was allowing people to get a second chance. There was a blood covering to hide sin, but we're all sinners, every one of us. Every day, even as Christians, we're sinners. We will be sinners as we're going up in the rapture. I don't know at what point do we get our new bodies. Is it before we start going up? While we're going up? Once we get in the clouds, we get a new body? It better be, because this one's heavy and the cloud won't support me. We don't know all the details. God's in charge of all that. It's not our pay grade to worry about it. All right, well, if you prayed that prayer, you're a Christian. I recommend that you find Christian videos online that you can watch. Find a church that you can belong to. You won't find a perfect church. They don't exist. They won't until Jesus comes back. You won't find a perfect person to advise you. Job had friends that told him, it's because you're a bad person. No, it wasn't. They didn't know. You do the best with them, but God is consistent. God is your friend. Father, if you want to. Abba, Father. You want a new life? You want it to be good? Trust God. Okay, until we meet in the clouds, God bless.